Steve!
Skylar, as you know, our vessel, Sea Star, has completed its life run.
Let's do what the others do. We'll send it to the Chinese shipbreaking yards.
I heard they're quite reliable.
Well, they aren't the only acceptable ones.
Can you recommend anyone? Alang, India. Have you any idea of their reputation? Our company will get a bad name.
Steve, I completely disagree. They're misconceptions.
Facts, not misconceptions.
How are you sure of these facts? Have you been to India? Alang?
No.
And are you aware that the New Zealand Navy just recycled their vessel Endeavour in Alang?
No.
And why would they compromise HSE standards for a few dollars more?
Well,
Steve,
yes.
the yards in Alang do maintain these HSE standards and they even offer a price much better than that of the other yards.
Yes.
What about the environment considerations? I heard it's quite nasty.
Precisely. You heard. Why don't we go to India, check out Alang ourselves?
Okay, Skylar, let's have it your way. We'll go to India and see what the Kiwis saw.
Okay.
Let's go.
Great.
Welcome to India. Please come.
So, are we going straight to GRD?
No, before that, I want you to meet someone. I want you to understand what the New Zealanders saw that made them come to India. After all, that's what you're here for.
Okay. Is that a life raft? What are they selling?
They are reselling. You want to see more?
Yes, for sure. Why not?
We're going to the yard. We're not here for shopping.
Steve, most people know Alang as a major ship recycling center.
Very few people know that Alang has a substantial downstream industry as well.
And these two combine together to create a formidable second-hand goods market. 1,500 entrepreneurs employing 10,000 and more people enjoy a turnover of excess of $1 billion here per annum. Over the years, these amazing entrepreneurs have perfected the art of extracting materials from the ship, refurbishing them at the lowest possible cost, and then finding the most profitable markets for them. It's a fascinating business.
That's interesting.
Please come.
Raghupat ji, namaskar.
अरे संजीव बाबू
इनसे मिलिए. ये हमारे कुछ जर्मनी से फ्रेंड्स आए हैं. इनकी बहुत बड़ी शिपिंग कंपनी है वहाँ पर.
नमस्ते.
How do you do?
Namaste.
Steve, you like rags to riches stories?
We all do.
Then this is something you'll enjoy. He's the someone I told you about.
An old small bag. That was all I had when I had come to Alang 30 years back to look for how to feed my family. And by God's grace, Alang has given me this all.
Scrap.
Hope. Hope. I had never set my foot in a shipyard before in my life. But suddenly here I was at the age of 20 years. I was seeing huge ships all around. I started working in a shipyard. It took me a while to get used to the pace of work, but I caught up. I saw traders buying old bearings and reselling them. And I sensed a new business opportunity. I quit my job and began to send the bearings to my uncle in Calcutta. And one day, out of nowhere, I fainted.
Why?
Happiness. My uncle had asked me to send 3 trucks of bearings, the order that changed my life for good. I called my family and friends from my village to work with me. And there in my village, they call us Alangwalas.
Alangwalas.
Yes. And you see, this place has not only given me money and new identity, but it has also returned my smile and that of many others. I had come here to feed my family, but today my workshop feeds lots of families.
Wow. Can I give you a hug?
Of course. Mr. Steve, I want you to keep this with you. Believe me, this is not merely a scrap. This bearing bears hope within. The hope that is Alang.
Wow, this is amazing. It's like a
absolutely
warehouse
brilliant.
back home.
It does.
But this one belongs to two of my friends from India. However, I'm sure they'll take this as a huge compliment.
Sanjeev.
Hi.
Ah, look, here they are. Hello, lovely to meet you.
Hi.
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 Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
I have to compliment you. It looks so well organized.
Thank you. It's just a beginning. We are planning to open a bigger warehouse in Central Europe to serve shipping industry more efficiently.
Let's go to my office.
Yeah, let's go.
So, did you show this to the New Zealand Navy as well?
Oh, absolutely. This is one of the reasons why they chose to come here.
Wow.
The New Zealanders, they researched their ship recycling options. And here is what they found. Let me show you. They noted that in most geographies, ship recycling meant smelting 70 to 90% of the vessel and discarding the rest into landfills. However, in India, we recycle 30%, reuse 70%, and discard virtually nothing.
But how do you manage to reuse such a big chunk?
We are like that only. We conserve value like no one else. We hate wastage. We are in the culture of reusing. I grew up in a joint family with 8 cousins. In school, we never needed to buy any stationery. How we used to work this was, whenever a ship would come into our yards, we would raid the ship and gather all the stationery we could lay our hands on. And that was enough. We never really needed anything more.
Can you explain further?
Yeah, I'll tell you more. Imagine 2 Panamax containers, lightweight about 20,000 tons each. Vessel number 1 you recycle by smelting, and vessel number 2 you send to Alang. Out of 20,000 tons, in Alang, about 14,000 tons of steel gets reused in its actual form. Whereas in the other shipbreaking yards, the same amount of metal gets smelted. Now, smelting 14,000 tons of metal requires humongous amounts of energy and therefore leaves behind an equally humongous carbon footprint. Imagine saving all this energy. 500 units for every metric ton of steel not smelted. You've just come from the town of Bhavnagar. 700,000 people live and work there. Just the amount of electricity saved from this one Panamax container can power the entire town of Bhavnagar for a period of 8 whole days. And this is just the benefits accruing from the reuse of the steel. If you factor in the other materials that are going to be reused, the environmental advantages reach a whole new level altogether.
That's amazing.
So what you're saying is Alang carries sustainable, eco-friendly recycling of ships. Am I right?
Precisely. Reuse, recycle, upcycle. Alang is absolutely unique.
We thought you guys
Did not take environmental safeguards, and that is why we could afford to pay you more. But the reality is
the exact opposite.
absolutely. And that is because sustainability is not a concept that's forced down upon us in Alang. It's ingrained into our very business model. In fact, what is good for the environment here happens to be good for our business as well. We reuse, we do not waste, so we sell higher, and that is why we pay higher.
Right.
And it's so simple as that.
Then why don't you have more people like the New Zealand Navy?
The perception reality gap. Alang is changing, and the world is just about beginning to recognize the change.
Right.
But it does not help that individual yards do not really care about advertising the change in the yards. However, let me show you the change in my yard at least. But now I think it's time to let these gentlemen get back to work.
Yes. It's nice meeting you.
Steve, you need to see these pictures to understand the change in Alang.
That's what we saw on the internet as well.
I know, this is history. Let me take you to modern times now.
Earlier, when we used to recycle the ships, we used to allow for the felling of the blocks by gravity in the intertidal zone. Then the blocks used to be pulled up for further processing in the yard behind us. But now we have a completely new system of recycling at JRD. Come, I would like to show you.
We've built this impermeable structure here using ship recycling materials, and here we've got this 230 metric ton crane.
What this crane does is, it picks up sections one at a time from the ship and directly places them into the secondary processing area behind us. The advantage of the system is that there's virtually no possibility of any contamination in the sea or the intertidal zone with this.
Well, that's great because that takes care of the beaching issue. In the past, India's reputation for recycling hasn't been exactly exemplary.
Maybe, but now effectively,
With this process, we can compare the environmental impact of recycling a ship in the primary zone here in JRD with the environmental impact of discharging a similar vessel at any commercial port.
Wow.
What about the runoff in the rains?
Come, I'll show you that. Please
Yeah,
come.
okay.
We have two blocks here, one for the clean processing area and one for the dirty processing area.
Okay.
And they have their individual drainage systems as well. In the dirty processing area, we take the water from there and take it to the wastewater treatment facility.
the water from the clean blocks is collected and stored here for firefighting operations.
The entire system has been so designed from the primary processing to the secondary processing that nothing contaminates the elements here because of recycling. And it's not just us who's pushing the envelope in JRD.
There are many yards in Alang who've got top quality facilities like ourselves.
They've got quality labor accommodation, they've got kitchens, dining rooms, they've got washrooms, they've got medical facilities, they've got training facilities, the works.
What about the certifications?
Our yard has been audited by Class NK and we've been found compliant with both the Hong Kong Convention as well as the European Union Ship Recycling Regulations.
Okay.
That's very impressive, Mr. Sanjeev. But how are we going to convince our people back home?
That's very simple. For that, you just have to log on to our management information system and you have access to all kinds of online data about the HSE activities in our yard. You can access photographic evidence, you can have facts and figures, you can have data, you have virtually everything and anything required to convince people back home.
All in the comfort of your office without stepping out.
Wow.
Can we now step into our offices?
Yes, absolutely.
I showed this table to the New Zealand Navy.
Why?
The New Zealand Navy asked me the same question. You see this table, and all the furniture in this room has been given to us by a ship.
Okay.
Here we don't destroy a ship, we reuse it. We give it a reincarnation.
You have a flair for dramatics, Sanjeev. But to be honest, you've shown us a very different picture of Alang.
Alang represents a massive opportunity for the shipping world to do something tangible and positive for the environment, Steve.
How?
If shipping embraces a change that's happening in Alang, every one of these yards will be persuaded to operate to EU standards. And when that happens, shipping would have directly contributed to the reuse of 2.5 million tons of steel and other products from ships instead of them being smelted or discarded.
And all this in world-class ship recycling facilities.
The environmental impact of this is huge. Just to give you some idea, the electricity saved will generate enough electricity to power the city of London for months. I hope I've been able to show you the change that's happening in Alang and how JRD is trying its best to continue to change and improve.
Absolutely. It's been amazing to be here. Thank you so much. I think we're definitely interested.
Yes, we are.
What did you tell them?
I told them
That their ship could be a school's furniture. or a factory where thousands find employment. Why our natural resources last that much longer? The reason why we have fresher air. I told them that the ship could be a better tomorrow for all of us.
So will they take up this opportunity?
They will have a robust review of the ship recycling policy. I can say that safely, Utkarsh.